Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good evening, everybody, and very happy New Year to everyone. First
New Year.
2024. We have full attendance tonight. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, including Mr. Ike on the high seas. He's with us.
Hey, Bob.
Okay, so under old business, we've got minutes from November 29th, which was our last.
So moved.
All right, moved by Mr. Ike for acceptance. Do we have any comments before we get a second? Any corrections, et cetera? Who's seconding the motion? Lois is seconding. Thank you very much. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 I have to abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Okay.
Aye.
By the way, Robert's rules does allow you to vote on minutes, even if you were not there.
That is correct.
Well, then I approve. I did read them.
You're alive and well, and you can read them.
I did, and
so
they looked fine to me. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple things under new business. Beyond wishing everybody a happy new year, I do have some sad news, and I just wanted to share it with everybody that on January 1st, John Downs passed away. Johnny Downs is here with us. Johnny's his grandson. The Downs Construction Company was originally the Frank Downs Company, which was John's father. And then John Sr., as he became known, ran the company with others for many, many years. And I can tell you, I met him in 1981 for the first time when I was a young draftsman. John taught me a tremendous amount about construction. He taught me a tremendous amount about contractors. And he really was a force in the industry, and we'll miss him. Our thoughts go
Very sorry.
to you, John.
Sorry, Johnny. Yes.
And everybody at the Downs Construction. So.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Mark.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's the only bad news I have tonight. The other thing
Appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, I do want to alert everybody that the mayor has set a date for the groundbreaking of January 24th, 2 p.m. with a weather date the following day, the 25th, also at 2 p.m. It's the mayor's event, and so she's got India Rogers, I'm going to get this title right. India's our director of strategic communications and government affairs. So India is handling the event along with Brian Wolf, who is community engagement and public relations coordinator. Brian was there taking pictures at the site this morning. So we have a groundbreaking date, and we'll get more information from them as things move along. The Downs Company will be helping, as they always do, with groundbreaking, paraphernalia, and its things, etc. So we appreciate that. Okay, so let's go to our project updates and Downs Construction. Who's speaking?
I'm gonna share my screen. Good evening, everybody. All right. Let's pull it up. All right, everybody could see my screen, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, project update. So I just want to hit first and foremost, I know it's bullet item number 2 here, but we did get our flood management certification approved and signed off. And we have commenced with the second time around with construction. All right. I'll get to the photos in a few minutes here, but I just want to touch upon some administrative items, the construction progress schedule, where Riley is, and go over requisitions, what a requisition is, as well as some recent change order proposals, COPs that have come about. All right.
Anthony, can you enlarge that just a little before you continue?
Absolutely, I sure can.
Thank you.
No problem. Let me know if that's all right. Even bigger than that, Patrick?
One more shot there.
Yeah, one more.
Let's do it. All
there,
right.
now.
All right, perfect. Sorry about that. It's magnified on my screen, so I don't know what you guys are looking at, but I appreciate the help. All right, so the issuance of subcontract is all complete except for structural wood framing, the bid package. We had a bidder, the low bidder, pull his bid. At this point in time, we've solicited other proposals from other contractors that could do this work, obviously within the GMP budget. So we're ironing out some contract negotiations with them and going to move forward with coordinating with other trades at this time. Item 1B, construction schedule update, MEP coordination process. We basically have the project 95% complete with the MEP coordination. There's the children's area on the first floor. That's kind of a little hiccup here. We've tried everything in our power to shrinking structural steel, shrinking ductwork profiles, piping profiles, so on and so forth in this area. But it's boiling down to, I think what's going to happen is the ceiling's going to have to be lowered about 6 inches. But again, we are talking to TSKP every step of the way, just so we can make sure we get the design proper for everyone's liking. The major submittal releases continue as we complete the submittal process. Last time we spoke, the rooftop units, which have the longest lead time, have been released. The electrical panel boards, which have the second longest lead time on the project, also have been released. We're working through some RFIs and whatnot for storefront sunshades, to be exact, which would have a lead time there. But I would say we're about 65-70% of the way through the submittal process. We have been working with TSKP and their consultants directly, going over, critical submittals that we need reviewed before, let's say, we get a painting submittal approved, so on and so forth. I think we have a pretty good flow and logistics behind that situation as far as paperwork processing. We actually had a meeting to go over all responsibilities and, logistics, which went very well. The consultants and TSKP brought up some very good points. So we duly noted that in the meeting agenda, and we submitted it for record. Moving on, Prosser. Subcontractors are beginning to mobilize back to the site. First and foremost was our demolition contractor. He's on site. He took care of our underground utility disconnects for the existing Prosser library, and they have been inspected, allowing us to get last night with the building department. We had an emergency meeting with Dwight, and he gave us the formal go-ahead to start mass demo. Started today, 1/3. Tree removals are going to start tomorrow. We're going to get those trees out of the way with Manafort, who's going to be on site. Get them out of the way for the remaining mass demolition. Riley, utilities, we have not disconnected the sanitary because of the high water table content that we've noticed in that trench. We're waiting for the water to kind of go down before we could safely get in there and complete that one disconnect before we could get the demo permit from Dwight, the building inspector, for this section of work. Now I'm going to go to what everybody probably wants to see here, and I need to zoom out, if that's all right. Pretty
Sammy,
far.
while you're doing that, I mean, is it gonna be okay if we do get snow this weekend?
You know what? To be honest with you, the snow is only going to help matters on dust control. To be honest with you, so
But what about the like the water that you talked about, the water
the
table?
water, it should be okay, Patrick. As
Okay.
long as it stays, frozen as much as possible. I think, our schedule right now doesn't have Riley on the critical path. So
Right.
even if, let's say, the snow does bother it and it keeps that water table up high, we got some time in there. We could wait to let it go down.
Okay.
This was first thing early in the morning. Jason's truck's in the back there. We have the big grapple attached to the equipment here. We're starting to spray water, keep the dust control measures down. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Get back up here. Sorry, I formatted this, I thought. All right, let's get back here. Same thing. Let me go back to my view counterclockwise now. All right. Same thing. They're discussing, Jason and the foreman from Stanford Wrecking are discussing the plan of attack. And there we have it. And the first section of the building has been ripped off with the grapple. And we're continuing to do so. I'm just gonna kind of thumb through here. Let me know if I'm going too fast or when I could click to the next page. So that used to be the front entrance.
Yeah.
Rear entrance.
This is the progress they made. This is around lunchtime.
Back entrance, right?
Back entrance.
Back entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the back entrance. Yep.
Oh, my fault. Back entrance. I always called that the main entrance. That was my fault.
I think we knew
Probably
what you meant.
was,
We
but-
knew what you meant.
All right. I appreciate that. Put that in the meeting minutes, okay, please.
Yeah.
All right. So this is looking at it. We chewed off a pretty good chunk of material today. The operator of this big grapple was surgical. He was picking steel off the ground. He was very impressive, actually.
Mm.
This is
Wow.
an action. This is close to the end of the day here. Water still being sprayed. We're going to move that water over to the other side to keep that dust control measures down. But as you can see in this picture right here, he took a piece of steel and now he's scraping the lot to pile up the debris. As he goes, he's trying to separate the debris, the aluminum, the steel, the concrete, and the brick and mortar and block into piles, because again, everybody knows this is a lead job. We need to get as much recycling points as possible, and those three items are easily obtainable to get recycled. We don't want to get anything as much as we can commingled, which goes against our lead points. So at the end of the day, Stanford Wrecking at the end of the month will owe us a waste management, I should say a report saying how much weight went out and basically how much weight got recycled, whether it be weight of brick, weight of concrete, weight of aluminum, steel, and any other metals there. But that's basically what we completed as we got our mass demo permit late last night.
Well, everybody has questions.
It was wonderful to see everybody in the morning. Everybody was eagerly and excited to see this thing start moving, and we're making pretty good progress. Let me zoom back.
Anthony, you want to take a couple questions in the interim here?
Yeah, absolutely. Does anybody have any questions, at this point in time? We're going to continue probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks with this demolition. The more tedious of the work is going to have when we start actually loading up the trucks and we get into the foundation and we get into the concrete slab and walls and whatnot. But, we were happy to see as much progress as they made today.
Anthony, are the tipping fees included in the contract?
Correct, yes. Yep. All the dumpster fees are built into the contract for Stanford Wrecking, as well as obviously the recycled content tracking and all that, so on and so forth. A lot of those waste companies do that automatically, knowing that pretty much, everything these days is either got a lead criteria or a high performance goal that they need to achieve.
I can't see everybody virtual, so I don't know if anybody has hands up or.
You want me to stop sharing the screen?
No. I think Nancy has everybody, right?
You do.
Okay,
No hands up.
all right.
Okay.
Please go on, Anthony.
All right. Yeah. So that's good news. I'm glad I was able to get some photos, and get it going, and we're going to keep with the gas pedal down. All right. So item C here, requisitions and change order proposals we have on the docket tonight, November 2023 payment application. And I just want to give a definition of what a payment application is. Basically it's a progress billing based on % complete. Okay, so we're trying to line up. We walk the job, Colliers at that point in time. Once we really get moving, we'll walk the job with us. TSKP will review as well. And basically every month-to-month billing will based on % complete. And I guess Nancy will talk about that, requisitions, and invoicing, when that section comes up. Couple other items that are very important at this time are COPs, which are change order proposals. As you can see here, our change order proposal number 1, which is the value engineering, lighting package revisions, and the including the P6 alternate, the snow melt for the bridge system. I'm showing here a credit of $4,630. With that being said, we were able to meet our $750,000 goal of value management. We exceeded that by the $4,630, and it does not include any value engineering items that we could take on from our millwork subcontractor who just recently came on board. So with that being said, once I go over these change order proposals here, we're looking for approval tonight to proceed. And the big critical item for this number 1, we met the $750,000 goal, but it also allows us to release the bridge structural design, knowing that we need to incorporate the steel for the added snow melt alternate that's included in this cost. Okay. COP number 3 was the unforeseen abatement at the exterior windows and unforeseen floor tile. This was some additional asbestos that was found through Bruce from GeoQuest. The town of Bloomfield requested that GeoQuest get out there and test some exterior windows and the magnitude of any unforeseen asbestos at these locations. The review, the test report came back positive. So we do have an added cost of $52,878. The work has been completed. This was to abate 46 windows, as well as about 1,300 linear feet of mastic of caulking at these windows. This was all based on a unit price that was established per the contract. COP number 5, a PR came out, number 1, from TSKP and their consultants for some foundation clarifications at the porch area, which was the removal of some concrete and concrete walls at this foundation walls at this area. We had a credit come back from our concrete subcontractor, as well as a small credit back from our site work contractor of $9,538. So what we're looking to do tonight and, going forward in this project, when we have COPs presented, we would like to get, the committee approval when that time comes. I'm sure Nancy will take the floor, and as well as Mark, to move forward with these changes.
Actually, Anthony, I think we can hit these right now.
Okay, perfect. I don't know, how you guys want to add this to the flow of the meeting. If we could hit it right now, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think in general, change orders should be under your presentation.
Okay,
And then, invoices and purchases and so forth will be handled later. So
absolutely. Sounds great.
let's take a change order proposal number 1, the value engineering. Do we have a motion to accept COP number?
So moved.
Mr. Ike, seconded by Patrick here. Thank you very much. Discussion, questions? Nancy, do we have anybody with questions?
No questions?
No discussion.
No.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to change order proposal number 3. Unforeseen abatement in exterior windows and unforeseen floor tile. Do we have a motion to approve change order?
So moved.
By Mr. Ike, seconded
Second.
by Jesse. Thank you very much. Questions, discussion? Lois?
Can you explain what happened? Because we did have someone who studied the situation and apparently missed these things. And what is their obligation to us, if any?
Yes, they missed it. And my understanding is they have no obligation. Not everything is visible. And I think generally in construction, this happens, that there's some unknown hazardous material or quantities that are going to come up. So, a change in has hazardous material removal as usual. Yes, I wish they had spotted, tested the windows.
Anthony, you want to give a little background on what we carry
Yes, would
that
you?
help offset this cost? Because this cost was originally higher than $50,000.
Correct. Yes, I was just going to touch upon that. This cost was higher, but we did, as part of our GMP, have a $30,000 allowance for any so-called unforeseen abatement that's required. So technically, this cost was $30,000 higher. Actually, what was a good thing and what helped out was that when we do come across these unforeseen abatement items or unforeseen mastic, we do have unit prices established as part of the contract. So this kind of allows us to better understand the magnitude of any, unforeseens that might come about. It helps not only the subcontractor stay true to his price, but as well as us for when we have to take a look and review these COPs ourselves.
I just think that sounds like a place where these things are typically found. And that would be a place where the hazardous waste people who are doing the evaluation should have looked. But we would have had to pay for it one way or the other.
It's our hazardous materials, not
So
theirs.
maybe it didn't increase our costs. But I think if somebody asks us about that vendor, we could say he missed it.
Absolutely, absolutely. More questions? Anybody else, Nancy? Okay, so motion's on the floor to approve COP number 3. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. And the last one is change order proposal number 5. Credit regarding the porch foundation, changes in the design. Take advantage of that. Do we have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Seconded by Patrick.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Questions, discussion?
I do,
Go ahead,
just one question mark. So I know, Anthony, you talked about this removing some of the concrete. I mean, does it change the design of the porch or?
It doesn't change the design at the porch. I think what happened was, at this porch area, these foundation walls, we're still keeping the footings and the piers in structurally, to support the structural steel. But there was no reason, talking to Jeff about it, there was no reason to have the concrete for the actual wall itself at this point. So we were able to scoot away with a credit coming back from our concrete subcontractor,
Okay,
as well as some minor excavations from Manafort, who is our site work contractor. They still need to get down there and dig for the footing. They still need to get down there and dig for the pier to support the steel column. So that's basically it. There's really
Okay.
not too much. The porch didn't change. This is just basically everything that's kind of happening underground.
okay. All right, thank you.
Did we vote on that? No.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were at
Yeah, questions
yeah.
first. Very good. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstaining? Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay. What else you have for us, Anthony?
I think that's it at this time. If anybody wants me to go back to the pictures, I can, but that's really it. We just started back up, and we're looking forward to having a successful project with the gas pedal all the way down and pushing this thing as much as we can.
All right, any other questions for Anthony? All right. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right. So let's move on to our architect. Not sure who's here.
Hello, everybody. This is Diana Lancer.
Deanna, welcome.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
I'm gonna see Richard. He was gonna attend, but anyway, my only updates I'm covering this week's for Jeff Brown. He's back, I believe, tomorrow. We have been working in the office with our consultants regarding this MEP coordination. We discussed this with Downs on Tuesday, and hopefully we are targeting either tomorrow or the end of this week to finalize the coordination of the duct work. That's what I have on my list. And the other item to update is regarding the furniture, is FF&E schedules. Let me try to share my screen. We have this preliminary dates for FF&E schedule. This one came from Janet O'Connell, who is working on the interiors and on the furniture for the Prosser Library. The date that I wanted to just bring to everybody's attention is the one highlighted here that we have based on, and Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we received some dates from Downs and we have the FF&E deliveries scheduled for March 5th, 2025.
Deanna, I think that was based on the September schedule. I don't think that this has been updated since the with the most current schedule.
Correct. We're in the
Okay.
process of updating that current schedule. Today on the site in our field office, we are putting together a preliminary plan right now, and with the contractors, subcontractors input of where we can cut durations. For instance, if we in our contract schedule we have 10 days to pour the east foundation wall, with the input from our subcontractor, can we shrink that to 8 days, and so on and so forth. So we're still investigating that and seeing where we could tie this in. Deanna, is this all going to be set in stone, or is this going to be subject to change?
Subject to change.
Okay.
So when we received, and you mentioned this earlier, you're working on the schedule. When we receive
Yep.
your updates, we kind of work backwards. So
Yep.
we find your estimated date for the substantial completion, and then we go from there. I believe other important items, I guess, to discuss is the duration of the FF&E. And again, I would say this is just a draft. We can work with the library about times and everything, but we were estimating 3 weeks, I believe, for the FF&E delivery and installation. We'll share this with Downs too, but we can share it with everybody. Some items to discuss about the bidding process or the procurement of the furniture. I know there are some meetings here scheduled to review the FF&E. And some questions and some items to coordinate with the construction manager with Downs about some some notes here about the deliveries and all of that stuff. These items, I'm just bringing this up to everybody's attention, but we still have a long way. So, but we need to have this Downs schedule to confirm all of these all these dates, and I can share this document with everybody.
Perfect. Thank you, Deanna.
Okay, and certainly Sean will be a big part of that as well, the coordination of the FF&E and delivery.
Oh, yeah, good point. Okay.
The other thing I just wanted to mention, under your report, and we talked about it at the owners meeting, is the importance of getting a handle on schedule for McMahon, which of course is going to be relying upon the identified scope of work there. So I know you guys are starting that process. You'll be meeting with library people and so forth, as well as Glenn at Public Works, because we've got some work at McMahon that's going to be totally handled by Public Works. And then we've got work that's going to, go along the route that everything else is going with Downs and TSKP. But of course, we need full coordination between everybody there. But it's really important that we work towards a goal of understanding, not only exactly the details of the work, but the schedule of that work. And that is important for the town because it's budgeting season in the town, and at some point, McMahon will be back online and will require operating funds, which are not in place at the moment. So that's why we need to identify all this and understand when McMahon will be back online, so that the town can fund operations there. So that's your tasks, coming up immediately. And like I said, we talked to Richard at our owners meeting about that as well. Questions for Deanna? Anybody there, Nancy? Oh, now I can see everybody, so, okay.
Yeah, I just
Patrick.
thought of something. Thank you,
Yep.
Mark. I know I wasn't here 11/29, so if we already did this, it's okay. But the question about the carpeting and maybe, where we were going through the samples with the carpet, did that ever get resolved? Oh, okay, so that's still.
I think there is a follow-up meeting to review the interiors of the library. I know today in our office, Janet was reviewing the carpet options with Taisu. So I have here, let me get back to you on the dates. I know that's still pending. And I see here a furniture meeting, selections with library staff too. There are some dates coming.
I think she did notify me. I think they might have another sample of a carpet.
Okay.
And I do believe folks met about the mural,
We did.
the mural
Okay.
wall in the
Okay.
children's area. And I think I'll let somebody who was there explain what the decision or the recommendation is on that. Lois or Elizabeth could probably do that.
Yes, I can talk about that. The decision was no mural or predetermined artwork, and to put up rods to hang artwork that can rotate accordingly.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, my only other comment is with regard to McMahon. I mean, just as I'm sure people already know this, but our fiscal year runs July 1 to June 30th. So the next fiscal year will start July 1 of this year, 2024, and run through. So do we really foresee McMahon being completed within that next fiscal year?
I don't even want to try and answer that.
No,
I'm
just
but
want to throw that out there. I
but-
mean, to
but
keep
it-
that in mind.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Okay.
the budget for the fiscal year
Right, it has
is
to be
being
done.
formed now.
But how would we even
So-
know to put the
Well-
operating costs
Well,
in that?
I think we can, within a short period of time, establish a timeline for
Yeah.
the work.
Okay.
Because the dollars are limited. And so we're not talking about the $35 million project that's happening at Prosser. So,
Okay.
I think in a very short order, we can come up with a relatively reasonable end, a target date to reoccupy McMahon.
Okay.
And in the worst case, we err on the side of, it's too early, but at least there might be some budget, money there in
Something.
case. So,
Yeah, no, that's
but I think we need to answer
for
that.
planning. Yeah, I
really
think
soon.
for planning, that's why we need that soon, because budget does start in earnest in March, right, Nancy?
Right. Right. So we got a couple of months to
The-
hopefully as
yeah.
much as that to figure that out.
Okay,
Even if all the details aren't there yet.
okay, thank you.
More questions? While we're
I guess
with the
I would like
architect?
Be sure to be included in the carpet.
Of course, Liz, yes.
Deanna, would you make sure that Jeanette includes Lois too?
Invite, yes, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to our OPM. Sean is here from Colliers. Sean?
Yes, the only item I have tonight is the special inspector needs to be determined. For those of you not familiar with that, the special inspector will come to the site. He will verify all the test results done by the testing company and make sure the structural components are in the tolerances of the design. Typically, this is done by the structural engineer of record, which is Michael Horton Associates. I'll share my screen. We did also do some comparison. We got a second price from the testing company, which was Tri-State. But upon discussion of this matter, we came up with the conclusion that typically it's the structural engineer of record that does this work, and their proposed budget was lower than Tri-State. So I believe everyone was in agreement that we move forward with Michael Horton Associates being doing the special inspections in the field for the project.
Questions for Sean? How about a motion to have us enter into contract with Michael Horton Associates for special inspections?
I'll move that.
Moved by Lois,
So moved.
seconded by,
Second,
there's a second, Jesse,
Yes.
thank you.
Jesse.
Any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
That's all I have this evening. Thanks.
Okay, any questions for Sean? Great. Nancy, what's up with spending more money?
Well, we've got lots of money to spend.
That's what happens when you make progress, right?
Wish I
When
could
you
say
make
that.
progress in this meeting.
That's what keeps the machine going, right?
That's true. So the first invoice I have is Downs invoice number 4. This is for pre-construction work at McMahon. And this is in the amount of $49,779.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by
Chris Grant.
Chris. Thanks, Chris. Discussion? Questions? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next.
Next, we have TSKP invoice number 200-802-23. This is Prosser Services through November 23, and it's in the amount of $16,666.80.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by,
Aye.
second by Jesse. Thank you. Questions, discussion?
Nancy, is that the right? I have $20,076.30. Am I looking at the wrong one?
There are two different
There's
TSKs.
2, I think. I found another one
Oh,
today.
okay, I'm looking at probably the
Yeah.
second one. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, there's
Oh, gotcha. Okay, never mind. Never.
other questions?
Good question.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next.
Next, this is an invoice from GeoQuest, invoice 10026A. And this is for additional services for the environmental. It included air testing and project monitoring and some project management. And it's $4,013.75.
So moved.
Move for approval by Bob Ike, seconded by Lois. Thank you very much. Questions, discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any nays?
Aye.
That was a late aye, not a nay. And anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next.
Next is an invoice from SLR, invoice number 193757. And this is for, they're addressing, Connecticut DOT district comments for, our permit, DOT permit, and it's in the amount of $262.50.
So moved.
Moved by Bob Ike, seconded by
I'll second.
Patrick. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Questions, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any nays?
Aye.
Any nays? Nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Let's see.
Next one is Downs application for payment number 5. This is through, I think, check,
Period to November.
through
30th.
November, and it's in the amount of $300,862.27.
So moved.
By Bob Ike for approval. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second by Marcia. Thank you very much. Questions, discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next.
One more for TSKP Studio, invoice 200802-24. This is for Prosser Basic Services through December of 23, and this is in the amount of $20,076.30.
So moved.
Move for approval by Bob Ike, seconded by
Jesse.
Jesse. Thank you very much. Questions, discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Is that the bottom of the pile, Nancy?
That's the bottom of the pile.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate everybody's patience. Everybody thinks it's easy to spend $30 million. But it's a lot of, it's like, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. Okay. Other items from the committee. Anybody have anything? I see no hands. We're all happy people for the new year. Thank you very much. Next meeting is January 17th, followed by another January 31st. We got 3 meeting month. And that leads us to public comments. Nancy, do we have members of the public with their hands waving?
Yes, we do. First, we have Linda Pagani.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say it's great that the demolition has begun. I did pass by today in the late afternoon. The progress was really impressive. And I also want to say that it's great to see the artwork of Bloomfield students adorning 3 of the fence panels. The art looks amazing. So kudos to the library staff for having this idea and bringing it to fruition, and to the artists, the young artists, for their creativity and execution. So thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Anyone else?
Going once,
Going twice.
going twice. All right, thank everybody from the public for attending. Appreciate that. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Patrick. Who's
I was
second?
waiting for Bob.
I know.
I think he went to the martini bar.
I think you went. Seconded by Lois. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, then we are adjourned.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year
Happy
again.
New Year.
Good New Year, good night.
Good night.